Welcome to the Full Tactical Range by Range Systems. I'm Bodo Bazinski, lead instructor for defensive mindset training, and this is your drill of the week. In this week's drill of the week, we're going to play with one of the classic combat gunfighting drills, the failure drill. But this, of course, being defensive mindset training, we're not just going to do the simple old classic. We have to add wrinkles to make this harder and more dynamic because the real world is harder and more dynamic than our nice sanitary range will ever be. So let's get started. The first one we're going to work on with our drill is we're going to work the classic failure drill. The general gist of the classic failure drill is you put shots onto center of mass, but that didn't stop your target, so you transition up to the center of face to get that target to stop right now. Now, there's a lot of reasons why somebody getting shots to center of mass won't stop. Could be that the person is high on drugs, they're not feeling the effects. It could be that the person's wearing body armor, which is generally sort of the assumption as to why this didn't work. It could be that the fact that when you started engaging rounds on target, those rounds didn't go deep enough into the body to get them to stop, a la the Miami FBI shooting. It could be that when you shot them center of mass, you're starting a hydraulic leak. So physiologically speaking, I can keep going for a long time with that hydraulic leak before the engine in my body seizes up and I stop functioning anymore. However, once we turn off the operating system, lights out, it's over. The way that we're going to do is do a magazine of 9, and we're going to set ourselves up anywhere from 15 to 25 feet to our silhouette target. And we want to have that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper center mass and a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper from the collarbones to the hairline. And what we'll do is we'll draw, you'll get 2 shots center mass, transition up, do 1 shot center of face, reset a sentence, and 360 check. The first wrinkle now that we're going to do in this drill set is we're going to now change the secondary target that we're working with. What we're going to do with this one is instead of going center mass up to center of face, we're going to go center mass down to the pelvis. And this one really pairs in with a really interesting drill that I'm kind of growing to like for my advanced shooters called the Istanbul drill. And the Istanbul drill, credit where credit is due, the first place I ever heard of it from was a firearms instructor by the name of Gabe Suarez. And I think it's a really valuable drill for defenders to have in their pocketbook if they are dealing with active shooters or terrorists or things like that, especially for law enforcement military. You really should know this drill and should run it a lot. Being that I have the range setup that I do, I can run the drill really safely. Make sure that wherever you are, you can run the drill safely with your range setup, and if not, make sure you do it dry running with cert because you can still get valuable reps out of it. The general gist of the Istanbul drill is that you have somebody that's killing people, right? He's shooting them with a gun, whatever it is. He's got a suicide vest on, and you need to get him to stop. The only thing that we know that gets suicide bombers especially to stop is actually turning off the brain. And so the way the Istanbul drill would work is you'd have center of face, you would close in shooting at the center of face, they would go down. You'd close in from there, give them more shots to center of face, and then run away as quickly as you can to make sure that if for some reason the S-vest goes off, that you're not caught in the blast and the shrapnel. We're gonna work that using a failure drill from the center of mass going to the pelvic line and then closing to be able to make sure that we stop them from clacking off a suicide vest via the Istanbul drill. Same thing, we've got our target downrange. It's that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on the human-shaped silhouette, and then we're gonna put 2 of the half 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper across the area on the silhouette that would be our hip line. And so we're gonna start by putting 3 shots on center mass, and then we're gonna transition to 3 shots across the pelvis, hopefully breaking the pelvis, making them fall down. You'll also notice that there's a second target that's laying across the back of the trap. That target laying across the back of the trap underneath my vertical target is emblematic of the target that has fallen down. And now that he's fallen down, this perhaps being a suicide bomber or an active shooter, I'm gonna close in and make sure that he can't hurt anybody else anymore. And so we're gonna do all of the Istanbul drill. We're gonna make sure that he's got bullets in the computer system and we're gonna shut it off, and then we're gonna clear out the space as quickly as we can. Make sure that when you do this, you're maintaining lots and lots of muzzle awareness. So there's the firearm is pointed in the direction that you want it to be pointed in. It's not randomly pointed downrange or wherever it is. So you're gonna wanna run this one dry before you ever run it live. Here's how this one looks. Now, there was a little bit of dynamism in that one where we had to close and then we had to come away, but really it was still a very linear engagement. We moved this way, we moved out that way. And real world engagements are not that kind of sort of linear dynamic. They're more circular, it's roundish. And the most effective movement that you can do in dealing with a threat is, generally speaking, a circular round flank movement. And so we're now going to bring that into drill version number 3. So drill version number 3 is going to go back to the initial target transition. So we're going to move from center of mass going up to the center of face. And then we're going to pair that in with the Istanbul drill, where we have the secondary target laying on the ground. Now, when we go to do a flanking, generally speaking, if you can do it, you want to flank towards the gun side. The reason being for that is every time somebody goes to use a firearm, generally speaking, if they're going to screw up, like they flinch or they crush the gun, most likely that bullet is going to come towards the support side. So if I'm a righty, any screw ups are going to come towards my support side. They will rarely go towards the primary side. So that being the case, if I'm going to make a judgment call about moving in relationship to a target, I want to move towards the primary side because all of his screw ups are going to come behind me. So we're going to set ourselves up again 15 to 25 feet from our particular target. On the buzzer, on the go, we're going to move. We're going to do that 2 shots to the body. This time we're going to do 2 shots to the center of face. That's going to put our target on the ground. We'll close in, make sure we get 2 more shots on our target while it's center of face and on the ground, and clear out again to make sure that we're not involved in any kind of a blast from like a suicide bomber. Failure drills are really critically important for law enforcement and military operations. They're really good for citizen defenders to know as well. There have been examples in different parts of the world where you've had terrorists with SVS, and there were times where there had been citizens there ready to be able to fight. Take the Kenyan Mall attack as an example. And that being the case, there's opportunities for us to be able to utilize these skills to stop threats as quickly as possible, and then get to a place where we can start to figure out how to manage our own care if we've been injured or manage the care of another. But no matter what, we need that threat to give up or to stop being a lethal threat as quickly as we possibly can. If you don't have the same kind of range safety facilities that I do here at Range Systems, be very careful if you're going to do this one live. You definitely could do this one dry running it with SIRT pistol, and I would encourage you to start there. With the vast majority of the drills that we show you at Defensive Mindset Training. And working this kind of drill, there's a lot of foundational skills involved. And if those foundational skills really haven't reached a level of mastery, this is going to be really, really frustrating. Tons of fun, still really frustrating because you're not going to get the accuracy, the rounds on target, and the speed that you want. So if you're not seeing those things, again, go back to your foundational work, because any advanced tactic like these, any advanced techniques are based upon the mastery of the fundamentals. So keep working those fundamentals, and we'll see you in the next drill of the week.